Hi, this is John from Premiere Pro Classes, and today's tutorial is about how to use an adjustment layer. It can be super helpful and super fun. Let me show you how. So here I made a very random timeline just to show you what an adjustment layer is. It just has some footage in there of New York and some diving and have some text on top. So let's say I want to make this whole sequence black and white, but I don't want to drop an effect into every clip. So that's a great reason to use an adjustment layer. Now you can get an adjustment layer in a couple places. If you go File, New, and there's adjustment layer. The reason why it's not highlight is because the timeline is highlight. If you just click onto your project window here, then go to File, New, and go to adjustment layer. That's one way. Another way is if your project window is open enough. Right now I don't see this icon I need, but if I spread it out, there it is right there, that little piece of paper. It says New Item. If I click that, I can also go here to Adjustment Layer. Either way, it's the same. So if I hit Adjustment Layer, it sees what my sequence settings are, and it's going to make it to that sequence settings, which I want. So I hit OK. That adjustment layer ends up in your browser here. So basically, this is a layer with nothing in it. It's an empty layer. So if I want to make the whole timeline black and white, I have to put this layer on top. So if I just drag it on, it'll make a new track for me. And I spread it out a little bit. I don't even have to spread it out the whole way, but let's say I go to my effects now, and I get something like black and white, and I throw it into that adjustment layer. You can see everything underneath that adjustment layer turns black and white because of course the top track is dominant and it always looks down. So that's really easy that I could just stretch it out where I want, and then my whole sequence can be black and white. I can play around with the effect and adjust it for the whole sequence. If you say want these texts to be the color, all you'd have to do is move the text over the adjustment layer. So if I take this text here and I move it above the adjustment layer, now you can see the text color shows. And any clip that goes above the adjustment layer will not be affected by the adjustment layer. An adjustment layer can be really good for doing color correction. So here if I go to my effects controls and I take out the black and white that I have in the adjustment layer, so I'll just delete it, and I'll go back to my effects and I'll go to color correction, Lumetri color, and I'll drop that in. Okay, so now I can go to effects controls and I'll see my Lumetri color. So now I can play around with the color here and see how it would look, over the whole thing without having to go into every shot. So here I can play with the tint and whatever I want basically. So it's really, you can throw any effect into the adjustment layer and play around with that effect. I'll do one more effect, so I'll just go to say something like generate lens flare. So I'm going to take this lens flare in and see now it goes over that whole clip, and I can keyframe this lens flare to go smoothly through the whole sequence. So that can be really useful. So it can be useful for a lot of things, just throwing effects in and seeing how your sequence looks with new effects. And if I don't like it, I can just delete it and my sequence is back to where it was before. So that's how you use an adjustment layer. So I hope you understand a little bit more how to use an adjustment layer. Thank you for watching. Subscribe or like. See you next time.